नहीं, शी हैज गिवन एग्जाम, बहुत सारे ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स, और शी इज कमिंग, वेल सौम्या इज कमिंग. 75. 75 इज फाइन. तो अब चेक किया आपने? सो यू फाउंड इट गुड? डिफिकल्ट नहीं लगा? लेंदी, डिफिकल्ट, बहुत कुछ था कल. हाँ, एथिक्स के क्वेश्चन थे, नए क्वेश्चन थे. बस कर ली. So what I found in yesterday's paper, I think Soumya is here. Acha, Soumya, you've joined online today. What happened? Everything is fine? Okay. So I was doing analysis of the paper yesterday. So that in fact, I'm carrying it also right now. So this is what, for environment, etc. I think the question, I am running the marathon for environment, and the same questions came in. I was discussing that, and same questions have come exactly like that, line by line. Madhav National Park. It is there in the notes of the people also, students also, and directly I am asking. Yeah, some more times the question was there. That was easy. And then cop was there. Hmm. हाँ, बिमस्टेक वाला एक आपका गुड गिवन का क्वेश्चन था. Yes, ma'am. What is she saying? This Gulog. Yes, ma'am. I just got late from the college. That's why tomorrow I'll come in the class. Okay, no problem. Tomorrow you can come. So I was expecting you to be like, नहीं मैम बहुत ऐसे गया पेपर. This is good. Good, good. Very nice. और कट ऑफ भी आई थिंक इस बार कम ही जाएगा काफी. 80 तो ज्यादा है, और कम जाएगा, और कम. ठीक है. तो आई थिंक 2 days बाद आ जाएगा लिस्ट. आपने फिर हैव यू were you in touch with all the optional classes? So how will you manage them? Geographical thought में you were there? Thoughts. You're not doing geographical thoughts. आपने population settlement से start किया है, I guess, है ना? ठीक है. So we have started geographical thoughts only recently. So you can do that. आपका क्या क्या मिस हुआ है? Climatology पूरा, oceanography पूरा, environmental geography पूरा मिस हुआ है, और Indian geography भी है ना? Okay. All right. So we have just started the contributions. I was just discussing. So let's discuss it from the starting only. We were discussing the contribution of. We were doing the contribution of Greek and Roman philosophers in geography. So there were many Greek philosophers and the Roman philosophers who have contributed immensely in the geography. The first one that we can discuss about is Homer, Cassius, Plato, Thales, Aristotle, Alexander. All of these are important in the geography. So now we'll divide the topic basically into 3 parts. What are these? पहले हम start करेंगे ग्रीक से और रोमन फिलोसोफर से, उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन देखेंगे. फिर स्टेज आएगा आपका डार्क एज. बेसिकली इसके बीच में भी एक एज आता है विच यू कॉल इट एज मेडिवल एज. मेडिवल में कौन है? अरब जोग्राफर्स, 11th century में they do give the contribution. फिर आएगा आपका dark age, wherein the science etc stopped, and then Renaissance आएगा, and then finally again your modern stage, the modern geography. So this is the whole timeline that we are following. और उसमें सबसे पहले हम डिस्कस करेंगे ग्रीक एंड रोमन जोग्राफर्स. उसको उस टाइम पे जोग्राफर्स ना बोल के वी यूज्ड टू कॉल देम एज थिंकर्स. व्हाई? बिकॉज बैक देन ज्योग्राफी वाज नॉट अ सब्जेक्ट, इट वाज नॉट इवन डिफाइंड एनीवेयर. तो यस, इट वाज जस्ट डिसिप्लिन नहीं बना था. डिसिप्लिन बहुत बाद में बना. 19th सेंचुरी में भी kind of made it a discipline. I think in journal format I have discussed it already with you कि हमने कब इसको discipline बनाया. But before that you have to understand that what was the contribution of all these geographers. You take the notes from me. Probably I get extra notes and then you can take the notes. So may you also take the notes. Just remind me about this. Okay. All right. So first write down. देखिए, difference between classical and period of integration in geographical thought. This is extremely important. Difference between, okay, difference between classical and period of integration. Difference between classical and period of integration in geographical thought. In geographical thought, write down. Write down. Classical and period of integration are two important stages. Classical and period of integration are two important stages. In the development of geography. In the development of geography, full stop. The classical period focused on description and exploration. जो आपका क्लासिकल पीरियड था वो किस लिए था? सिर्फ आप क्या करिए, ऑब्जर्वेशनल फैक्ट्स को डिस्क्राइब करिए. So observation, it was more focused on observation, it was more focused on description. Observation, descriptional facts. ठीक है, it was more classical. ठीक है, क्लासिकल में मतलब, क्लासिकल का मतलब है सिर्फ ऑब्जर्व करके बताइए, सिर्फ mere description. So it was just mere description. Yes, previously also I have mentioned description का मतलब क्या होता है? सिर्फ फैक्ट्स देखिए और आपने बोला that okay, London city is here, your Rome is here, that's it. Without even getting into the fact why and how the landforms have been formed in that place, why this place is near the river, what has made it like that, nothing. So you call it as classical period. Right, and the classical period focused on description, exploration, whereas period of integration focused on, whereas period of integration focused on scientific analysis and interrelationship between. It focused on scientific analysis and interrelationship between physical and human phenomena. It focused on scientific analysis and interrelationship between physical and human phenomena. देखिए, दोनों periods में major difference क्या है? When I'm talking about the period of integration, what I'm trying to do, I am trying to relate the physical phenomena with the cultural, with the human phenomena. Why? For example, if I say this particular area physical, the phenomena means landform is like that. अब उस landform में क्या हो सकता है? I can say mountains are present. And I know when the mountains of anywhere they are present, what will happen? The livelihood of the humans would be different. So maybe they will have they will do more of pasture, or maybe they'll do more of transhumance, or they will do more of stock, what do you call it, as grazing. This will be the livelihood. So I am trying to relate this with this. Then I can also say the culture of this place will be different. Next, their economy would be different. Their social geography would be different. So what I'm trying to say, because of the different landforms, different factors do develop. So इसको क्या कहा? Integration. पहले इनका कोई रिलेशन नहीं था. पहले हमने फिजिकल सेटअप्स को ह्यूमन के सेंटिमेंट्स या ह्यूमन के पैटर्न के साथ नहीं इंटीग्रेट किया था. ठीक है, अब इसका एक टेबल बनाएंगे, टेबल के बना के लिखेंगे, बिकॉज दिस इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ this information is very important in order to understand the whole geographical thought. Write down the basis, then classical period, then period of integration. तीन टेबल बनाएंगे, basis, classical period and period of integration. Right now, पहला लिखेंगे meaning. First, you will write the meaning. Already we have written a meaning, but again you can write down meaning. It was an early stage of geography. It was the early stage of geography, focused on description of Earth. Okay, welcome Ishan. Right on. It was an early stage of geography. Which was focused on mere description of places. Right, so it was the early stage of geography focused on description of Earth and places. Focused on description of Earth and places. Write down the period of integration. Stages where physical and human geography. It was a stage where physical and human geography were interrelated. It was a phase where physical and human geography were interrelated into which discipline? Unified discipline. Into unified discipline. Earlier I have told on Saturday, I have also discussed one thing very important with you, why and how geography became as an institutionalized discipline. इसका हमने question किया था, and that answer I have also given to you on Saturday. आप उसका previous lecture देख लेना Saturday का, you'll get an idea. Then write down time period. What basis we are discussing this? Next, time period. Time period में what we are discussing? किस time की बात है? Classical period, ancient and medieval period. We are discussing about ancient and medieval period. Then mainly 19th century. Period of integration curve, mainly 19th century onwards. Mainly 19th century onwards. ठीक है. Next, nature of geography. ये nature of geography कैसा होगा classical period का? How it will be? How it will be? Descriptive. Very good. Descriptive. Write down descriptive and exploratory. Descriptive and exploratory. What about period of integration? It would be analytical. Good. Scientific and analytical. Scientific and analytical. Okay, Piyush, one thing I want to ask, that if in case if you clear the prelims this time, as you're saying your examination went well, so how will you cover optional का syllabus? हाँ, that you तो रिवीजन के लिए तो स्पेशली या तो आई हैव टू कंडक्ट अ सेपरेट क्लास फॉर यू बिकॉज माय मॉर्निंग बैच इज गोइंग ऑन एंड देन दिस इवनिंग बैच गोज ऑन बट आपका भी आई डू अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज 3-4 लोग और थे जिन्होंने प्रिलिम्स दिया है मगर आई डोंट नो देयर रिजल्ट ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शन के स्टूडेंट्स हैं but knowing you previously also you have cleared it, so what's your call, how you want to do it? Because I'm not in a favor that you will have only 2 months to be honest, इससे ज्यादा नहीं. तो 2 months में आप कैसे सिलेबस भी कंप्लीट कर लेंगे, रिवाइज भी कर लेंगे, हमें कुछ तो स्ट्रेटेजाइज करना पड़ेगा ना. हाँ, ये आप कल जल्दी आ सकते हैं. ठीक है, यू कम एट अराउंड 3 आप आ जाइए आप. ठीक है, एंड बाकी 3 दिन 2 दिन बाद तो रिजल्ट आ ही जाएगा, रिजल्ट इन सेंस आंसर की आ जाएगी एंड यू कैन मैच इट. तो उससे पहले हम एक बार डिस्कस कर लेते हैं क्या, बिकॉज इट्स अ हाँ. एंड ऑल्सो आई टेल यू कि कौन कौन से पोर्शन पे ज्यादा फोकस करना है, क्या करना है. तो नो पॉइंट के पूरा साल समझ रहे हो आप, इट्स अ वेरी लॉन्ग जर्नी, सो देयर इज नो पॉइंट. तो आई वांट कि इसी बार जैसे आपका हो जाए, तो कोई बात नहीं, दिन रात मेहनत कर सकते हैं, हो जाएगा ना. हाँ, strategy I'll tell you, and you come in the class. I'll tell you. I can also give you the extra time if you want कि मैम कोई problem है, ये सब ये टॉपिक को फटाफट करना है. So that can also I can do it for you. But point ये है बस थोड़ा सा बहुत एक्स्ट्रा, थोड़ा नहीं एक्स्ट्रा मेहनत लगेगा. ठीक है ना, ठीक है, ऑल राइट. राइट डाउन व्यू ऑफ नेचर एंड ह्यूमन. अब लिखिए व्यू ऑफ नेचर एंड ह्यूमन. बेसिस लिखिए व्यू ऑफ नेचर एंड ह्यूमन. How human viewed it लिखिए. They studied it separately. अलग से पढ़ते थे, सिर्फ प्लेस पढ़ लिया, बात खत्म. उसका कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं निकालना कि क्यों ऐसा है, यहाँ पे रिवर सॉल्टी क्यों है, यहाँ पे रिवर नंबर ऑफ रिवर्स कम क्यों है, नो रिलेशनशिप. सो दे स्टडीड इट सेपरेटली. नेक्स्ट में लिखेंगे स्टडीड टुगेदर एंड इंटर रिलेटेड इन पीरियड ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन. स्टडीड टुगेदर एंड इंटर रिलेटेड. स्टडी टुगेदर एंड इंटररिलेटेड. नेक्स्ट पे लिखेंगे व्यू ऑफ नेचर एंड ह्यूमन. हो गया. नेक्स्ट लिखेंगे इंपॉर्टेंट स्कॉलर्स. हु वर द इंपॉर्टेंट स्कॉलर्स ऑफ अर्लियर टाइम? इट वाज होमर, वेरी गुड, होमर, प्लेटो, एरिस्टोथेनेस, all of these were important scholars. ठीक है. Strabo has in fact given the regional geography concept as well. And for this you can write down many: Karl, Ritter, Alexander von Humboldt, Immanuel Kant. ठीक है. All right. Major contribution लिखेंगे. Write down the major contribution. Major contribution में लिखिए mapping measurement of earth travel records. Mapping measurement of earth and travel records. Next में लिखिए development in modern geography theory. इसको क्या बोला गया पीरियड ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन को? मॉडर्न ज्योग्राफी। ये था बेसिस मॉडर्न ज्योग्राफी का, that we were integrating. मैपिंग मेजरमेंट ऑफ अर्थ एंड ट्रैवल रिकॉर्ड्स, मैप बना दिया, स्टार्ट कर दिया. एनेक्सिमाइंडर वाज द फर्स्ट वन, एज आई टोल्ड यू, हु मेड द मैप ऑन द स्केल्स. पहला स्कॉलर थे, पहले ही थिंकर थे जिन्होंने मैप स्केल पे बनाया, लॉन्गिट्यूड लैटिट्यूड्स के साथ. ठीक है, मैपिंग कर दी. मेजरमेंट, मेजरमेंट कैसे? जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल they were scholars like Homer, जो मैथमेटिकल ज्योग्राफी से अपना क्या करते थे? He developed, it was not this, sorry, Thales. Thales developed what? मैथमेटिकल ज्योग्राफी से उन्होंने पूरा सर्कमफेरेंस कैलकुलेट करने की कोशिश करी. So this is called mapping etc. and measurement. Measurement of what उनको बहुत excite करता था. यानी one, I don't know why they used to keep on predicting that कितना measurement होना चाहिए, अर्थ का क्या होना चाहिए. They used to discuss all these things. Okay, so majorly we have done it, we have covered it. Now come to next part, which is okay. Come to this Plato and Aristotle. Write down Plato and Aristotle. देखिए Plato and Aristotle, आप you will also study them in your PSIR also. ये सेम PSIR, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle वहाँ पे भी आते हैं, ethics में भी आते हैं. They were the philosophers basically, and they were very known Greek philosophers who have given a lot of contribution in everything. Now the point of this, why they have come together, this Plato was basically a scholar and Aristotle was a disciple of Plato. Aristotle was a disciple of Plato. He used to follow Plato, except in one thing, which is your inductive and deductive reasoning. Now, what is his idea of inductive and deductive? So, Plato was somebody who used to go from particular to general. Particular to general. And Aristotle was somebody who used to go from general to particular. Now, what do you mean by that? जब मैंने बोला कि Plato went from particular to general, इस मीन कि एक आपने कुछ भी देखा उसके बेसिस पे आपने डिड्यूस कर दिया, ऐसा ही होता है. यूपीएससी फॉर एग्जांपल कल का पेपर में एथिक्स का क्वेश्चन आए, आई वुड से दैट एवरी ईयर एथिक्स क्वेश्चन कम्स इन यूपीएससी पेपर. दिस इज कॉल्ड पर्टिकुलर टू जनरल. मैंने एक इंसिडेंट देखकर सब कुछ डिड्यूस कर दिया. नाउ एरिस्टोटल वाज teleological. Teleological means he used to find a purpose behind everything. That what is the purpose of this? अगर ये wood है तो क्यों है? If this podium is there, so what is the utility of this? So finding a purpose with everything is called a theological approach, teleological approach, and he was also against a reductive. He used to first go to general कि हाँ सब में apply हो रहा है, and then he used to come to a particular concept, and then he used to come to a क्या हुआ? Then he used to come to a particular concept. So this is how it was. So आपको ये समझना पहले जरूरी है. Did you get this deductive and inductive? कोई issue है streaming में? तो आप कर लो, आप मुझे बताइए. So inductive means what? That you are going from जनरल टू पर्टिकुलर. आपने बोला ये चीज मैंने देखी है, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बहुत लोगों में ये चीज ऑब्जर्व करी. ऐसी यूपीएससी के टाइम पे एवरीबॉडी गेट्स स्ट्रेस्ड, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड, देन यू विल मेक अ स्टेटमेंट लाइक दैट, एवरीबॉडी गेट्स स्ट्रेस्ड ड्यूरिंग व्हाट, आई मीन द पर्टिकुलर पर्सन गेट्स स्ट्रेस्ड ड्यूरिंग यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन, जस्ट लाइक दैट. तो आप जनरल से पर्टिकुलर पे आ रहे हो, व्हिच इज कॉल्ड इंडक्टिव. दिस इज अ बेटर अप्रोच. So, what was the Plato and how were his ideas developed? Write down. Plato was one of the influential. Plato was one of the, okay, Plato was one of the influential. Plato was one of the influential Greek philosopher and student of Socrates. Greek philosopher and and he was a student of he was a student of Socrates. And he was a student of Socrates. Full stop. What were his key ideas, Ryder? He believed in the theories of forms and ideas. He believed in the theories of forms and ideas. इसका statement का क्या मतलब है? What do you understand by this statement that he believed in the theory of forms and ideas? So please try to understand it very carefully. Forms and ideas का मतलब होता है that you are trying to understand anything. He used to say that nothing is here. जो भी आप देख रहे हैं, this is not true. This is not realistic. Whatever there is in your mind, that is idealistic. That is true. He used to live in the world of idealism, basically Plato. ये जो material, जो भी कुछ आप देख रहे हो, chairs, etc., whatever I can see around me, so I'm naming it. So whatever I can see around me is not true. Everything which I can think, which I can imagine, that is true. तो बिकॉज वहां पे क्या है, वहां पे इम्पॉसिबल, वहां से बहुत सारी चीजें हो सकती हैं, बहुत इम्पॉसिबल चीजें भी यू कैन इमेजिन. So you can, that is a true knowledge. He used to consider that is a true knowledge. वो है true knowledge, not this. ये जो material form में जो भी चीजें हैं, ये true knowledge नहीं है. So that was the idea of Plato. बहुत ही अलग ही idea था उनका. That he used to call forms and ideas. Write down. He believed in the theories of forms and ideas, meaning the real world is just a shadow of. This means the real world is just a shadow of higher perfect reality. That means the real world is just a shadow of higher and perfect world. It is just a shadow of higher and perfect world. Write down next. According to him, true knowledge comes from, according to him, true knowledge comes from reason and thinking. According to him, true knowledge comes from, true knowledge comes from reason and thinking. कब आएगी न्यू नॉलेज? जब आप सोचेंगे. रीजन एंड थिंकिंग, not from the senses. He did not consider senses anything, not from the senses. Not from the senses. Write down next. He emphasized idealism in philosophy. He emphasized idealism in philosophy. He emphasized idealism in philosophy. Write down. Write down his contribution. Write down contribution. Why? Because how much he has contributed as a geographer. He founded the academy in Athens. He founded the academy in Athens. Is one of the earliest institution of higher learning. He founded academy in Athens, comma, write down. One of the earliest higher learning institution. One of the earliest higher learning institution. Higher learning institutions. Right on next. He wrote famous dialogues like The Republic. He wrote famous dialogues like The Republic, where he described his idea. He wrote famous dialogues like The Republic. इसको dialogue क्यों बोला गया? Why are we calling this as a dialogue? Because this is a conversation between two people. It is said like that. So ये dialogue के form में लिखा गया है. That's why it is written dialogues over here. That you are asking something, then he is giving the answer. Then somebody is asking something, he is giving the answer. So this famous book, Republic, written by him, has been written in the form of dialogues. That's why dialogue has been written in front of it. So dialogues he form में लिखा, where he described his idea of ideal state. Where he described the idea of ideal state. कि ideal state क्या होता है, उसका उन्होंने एक डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया, आइडिया दिया. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट कंक्लूजन में लिखेंगे, Plato believed that real world is imperfect. Plato believed that the real world is imperfect, and true reality exists in ideal and unseen form. True reality exists in ideal and unseen form. ठीक है. अब नेक्स्ट लिखेंगे, राइट डाउन एरिस्टोटल. राइट डाउन एरिस्टोटल. Aristotle was a student of Plato. Aristotle was a student of Plato. Aristotle was a student of Plato and later became the teacher of Alexander the Great. And later he became the teacher of Alexander the Great. Now he rejected the Plato's theory. He rejected the Plato's theory of forms. He rejected the Plato's theory of forms and focused on real and physical world. And he focused on real and physical world. Okay. So Aristotle was a student of Plato and later he became the teacher of Alexander the Great. He rejected Plato's theory of forms. Forms की theory को उन्होंने क्या किया? Reject. He rejected the theory of forms. And he said, whatever you can see is a reality, imagination is not the reality. And he later said what? He focused on real and physical world. I hope it is very clear to you. Focused on physical and real world. Next point, real world. Next point. Believe knowledge comes from observation and experience. He was a big propounder of this. He was a propounder of the fact. That knowledge comes from comes from, he was a big propounder of the fact that the knowledge comes from observation and experience. Comes from observation and experience. Next point. He developed earlier ideas of scientific thinking and classification. He developed earlier ideas of he developed earlier ideas of classification, and scientific thinking. And now write down his contribution. Write down his contribution. He founded the Lyceum in Athens. He founded the Lyceum, Lyceum, in Athens. He founded the Lyceum in Athens, Lyceum, Athens. He wrote on subjects like logic, politics, biology, ethics, biogeography. He wrote on subjects like logic, politics, biology. Write down logic, politics, biology, ethics, geography. Logics, politics, biology, ethics, geography. Okay. Adam, Plato was a master of deductive reasoning. Plato was the master of deductive reasoning. Plato was master of deductive reasoning, and Aristotle focused on inductive reasoning. And Aristotle focused on inductive, inductive, inductive reasoning. Next, there were more contribution of Plato also with respect to geography. We have to focus on geography wala thing more. So write down. His pupil Parmenides, okay, so start writing from here. It was Pythagoras, write down from here. It was Pythagoras who had been the earliest philosopher. It was a Pythagoras who have been the earliest philosopher, and he worked out some of the mathematical laws, it was Pythagoras who have been the earliest philosopher, and he worked out some of the mathematical laws for the circular motion of celestial bodies, So now, at that point of time, we even did not know then how the Earth used to move, whether it was moving in a circular direction, whether it was moving in. He had no idea about that. So even finding that thing was a very big thing at that point of time. The circular motion में घूम रहा है, कैसे घूम रहा है celestial body. So that is something who figured out. It was said that it was a Pythagoras through his mathematical equation he figured it out that. Okay. Next, it was his pupil Parmenides, comma, applied these two observations made from, it was his pupil Parmenides who applied these two observations made from surface of the round earth. But it was Plato who came a century after Parmenides. But it was Plato who came a century after Parmenides, comma, seems to have been the first philosopher to announce. He seems to be the first philosopher to announce. Who announced, write down, the concept of round earth. The concept of round earth located in the center of universe. Who announced the concept of round earth located in the center of universe with celestial body, with celestial body with celestial body in circular motion around it, with celestial body in circular motion around it. Full stop. However, it cannot be determined that whether this idea was Plato's original idea or it has been borrowed from Socrates. Okay. Next point. The earth was mostly considered as a flat disk. ये शुरू से ही रहा है. We did not know that whether the earth is a flat, whether earth is round. We had no idea at that point of time. So what we considered earth as a flat disk only. That was proposed. That earth क्या है? एक flat disk की तरह है. We do not know how it looks like. And then they used to, later on we found it out that it's a round. So write down, earth was mostly considered as a flat disk, but some philosophers began to think earth was mostly considered as flat disk, but some philosophers began to think of the earth. But some philosophers begin to think of earth as rounded. Begin to think as rounded. Which was based purely on theoretical grounds. Which was based purely on theoretical grounds. Okay. Now you need to write an answer, then we will continue, otherwise it will be quite monotonous for you. Okay. I'm giving the question. Bagh. I'll tell office boy only. I have to call him. Okay. We write down. Write an essay on the contribution of. Write an essay on the contribution of Greek philosophers in understanding the concept of geographical thought. ब्रैकेट में लिखेंगे प्लेटो एंड एरिस्टोटल. जस्ट फोकस ऑन प्लेटो एंड एरिस्टोटल. Okay, done. Done. Okay. So, what have you written? Just tell me. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. 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 ओके, ठीक है। पर इसमें कुछ और भी ऐड करना है हम लोगों को क्या? ज्योग्राफी से रिलेटेड काफी कुछ हमें ऐड करना पड़ेगा। सो सी, अभी हमने क्या किया, सिर्फ इंडक्टिव एंड वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट कि अर्थ ग्राउंड था, किसने क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया है। बट देयर इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एरिस्टोटल, and Aristotle basically he followed the four elements, four things he followed. So the point is here, जैसे अगर आपने प्लेटो के बारे में बताया, so the inductive and deductive that's fine, but हमें अब इसको किससे रिलेट करना पड़ेगा? ज्योग्राफी से ज्यादा रिलेट करना पड़ेगा, because it's a geographical thought question, so it makes sense that we will have to introduce geographical thoughts, geography for contribution also. So what you need to write? You need to write more in this, and I'll give you the content for that. जितना आपने लिखा वो बेसिस के लिए अच्छा है, ठीक है? So write down, लिखिए। Aristotle joined Plato's academy at the age of 17. Write down. Aristotle joined Plato's academy near Athens at the age of 17. Full stop. He remained in the academy until Plato's death. He remained in the academy until Plato's death, at which time Aristotle was 38. At which time Aristotle was 38. He spent the next 12 years traveling widely throughout the Greece. He spent the next 12 years of his life traveling widely throughout Greece and around the shores of. He traveled right on. He traveled for next 10 years throughout the Greece, widely throughout the Greece, and around the shores of Aegean, Full stop. He became convinced that the best way to build a theory, he became convinced that The best way to build a theory, he became convinced that the best way to build a theory he became convinced that the best way to build a theory was to observe facts. The best way to build a theory was to observe facts, and best way to test a theory was to confront it with observations. He became convinced that the best way to build a theory was through observation of the facts, and best way to confront the theory is also through observations. Okay? So best way to build a theory was again through observation, and best way to test a theory was also through confronting it with observation. Next, whereas Plato built a theory through reasoning and intuition. Next point, Aristotle followed Empedocles, EMPO, EMPEDOCLES. Aristotle followed write down, Empedocles. Aristotle followed Empedocles. You want to drink water? अभी चले जाओ बाहर, because I was thinking office boy would have been there. अभी है नहीं. I'll wait. Just give me a moment. हाँ. Write down. Empedocles. He followed Empedocles with regard to basic substance. With regards to basic substance that all material are made from basic elements. And what he said, MP Dawkins has basically given a theory which you call it as theory of 4 elements. And he said सब कुछ जो भी है वो 4 elements से ही बना है, basic elements, air, water, etc. All these 4 elements, because of that only everything has been made. So everything is in the world is made from 4 basic elements, which is water, earth, fire, and air. He said that everything in the world is made from the basic elements. He said that everything in the world, money, you need. Okay. So he said that everything in the world is made from basic elements. He said that the basic elements has been made from the basic elements that is earth, water, fire, and air. Next point. He opined that all material objects on the earth. He opined that all material objects on the earth are made up of these basic 4 elements. He opined that all material objects on the earth are made up of these 4 basic elements in varying proportion. And Aristotle discussed one more element. कौन सा element discuss किया उन्होंने? Ether. Aristotle discussed one more. He added on one more element. We call it as ether, which is what? A heavenly substance. Basically, what does it mean? It means a heavenly substance, which was not found on the earth, but it was made from heavenly bodies. This material was not found on the earth, but it was made from heavenly bodies. Okay. Next point. Okay, next one. Aristotle significantly advanced geography by establishing it. He significantly advanced geography by establishing it as scientific, empirical, discipline, and proving that the earth was spherical and divided into habitable climatic zones. Next point. He utilized observational and inductive methods to study physical phenomena. He utilized inductive and observational facts to study and understand physical phenomena, including meteorology, tides, tides, and human-environment relationship. And human-environment relationship. First, what he has given, he has also given geographical contribution. He has given the proof of spherical Earth. He has given a proof of spherical Earth. Write down proof of spherical Earth. What did he say? Aristotle asserted that Earth was a sphere based on evidence. He asserted that Earth was a sphere based on evidence. He asserted that Aristotle asserted that Earth was a sphere based on evidence such as curved shadow cast, on moon during lunar eclipse, such as curved shadow cast on moon during lunar eclipse. Do you understand this? The shadow of the Earth which was falling on the moon. So due to that, they could understand that there is some sort of a curved surface which is being created. So through that, they would be able to understand that the Earth is a rounded shape. Next, climatic zonation. He has also given what? Climatic zonation. Next point, climatic zonation. Right on, he divided Earth into 5 zones based on latitude. He divided Earth into 5 zones based on latitudes. अर्थ को कितने जोन्स में डिवाइड किया? 5 जोन्स में डिवाइड किया लैटिट्यूड्स और टेम्परेचर के बेस पे, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ लैटिट्यूड्स एंड टेम्परेचर्स, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ टेम्परेचर्स एंड लैटिट्यूड्स एंड टेम्परेचर. पहला जोन कौन सा दिया उन्होंने? टॉरिड जोन. एग्जाम्पल में लिखेंगे टॉरिड जोन. I don't need to explain this torrid zone. This includes both tropical of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Then 2 frigid zone and 2 habitable zone. So according to Aristotle, torrid zone was too hot for the habitation, and according to him only the frigid zone was too cold for to be habitable, right? And then for him the temperate zone was fine. Okay. Now scientific methodology, he has given the next contribution as scientific methodology. ये simple points में I am giving you ताकि आपको सर्च ना करना पड़े किसी भी चीज के लिए. So that's why I'm giving you points only. आप सेम उठा के अपने आंसर्स में लिख सकते हैं. Scientific methodology underline. He pioneered the scientific geographical approach. He pioneered the scientific geographical approach by moving from mere description. He pioneered scientific geographical approach He pioneered scientific geographical approach by moving from mere description to analyzing causation. By moving from mere description to analyzing causation. To analyzing causation. Next point. Explaining why physical features exist. He explained He simply explained why there are physical features which are there. Explaining why physical features are there. Now write down. He have also given meteorological and physical geography description. He has also given meteorological and physical geography description. Write down. In his book Meteorologica, please underline this word, Meteorologica. In his book Meteorologica, he studied winds, comma, tidal movements. He studied winds, comma, tidal movements, comma, volcanic activity, comma. Have you done that question in the prelims? That volcano question has come? You didn't mark it. Have you studied it earlier? Was there? It was there in the news, right? Okay. And what about that Madhav National Park one? We did that. Okay, we'll discuss. 5 minutes. We'll discuss at the end. All right. I'm about to complete. Right on. He studied winds, tidal movements, earthquake, volcanic activity, attributing earthquakes to trap subterranean gases. Attributing earthquakes to trap subterranean gases. Last, human environment interaction. Human environment interaction. He was an early proponent of environmental determinism. We will understand what is this environmental determinism and environmental possibilism. We will do two things. He was an early propounder of He was an early proponent of environmental determinism, suggesting that climate and physical geography dictated the nature comma, habits, and health of habitants. देखिए, you will do in detail. हम बहुत डिटेल में बात करेंगे environmental determinism की. Environmental determinism ये कहता है आपका एनवायरनमेंट चेंज करता है आपकी हैबिट्स को, आपकी कल्चर को, आप कितना आपका लिमिट, बिकॉज एनवायरनमेंट लिमिट्स योर कैपेबिलिटी. इसी के ऑपोजिट एक थ्योरी है which talks about environmental possibilism कि despite the fact that environment बहुत ज़्यादा adverse है, तब भी we can do the things, we can still fight against the environment and then we can establish whatever we want to. So that is called environmental possibilism. इसके बाद एक और theory आई which you call it as environmental neo-determinism, which says that okay, there are limitations also, there is a possibilism also, but now through a technology you can again change all of them. तो बहुत सब कुछ इसके अंदर आया and we will see all of these one by one. ये बात की बात है, not now we are going to discuss this, and that's all with the respect to Plato. इतने ही notes काफी हैं, not more than this, because अगर question आया तो एक one it will come and we have done the detail of this. Okay. So I'm just discussing the previous UPSC prelims का paper, although I've done the analysis for Plutus yesterday. ठीक है. So are you carrying the paper? Okay. LT LED question. Okay. बताइए. I have B. Yeah, I have marked it already. Okay, okay. Hmm. But don't you think that statement 3 contradicts the statement 1? Statement 1 says the long-term approach LT-LEDs is crucial for achieving net zero. Third stated climate resilient development necessarily depend on quick and short-term achievements of emissions. So so assertion is saying that statement third contradicts the approach implicit in statement 1. So it does contradict now. So why not 1 and 2? Why only 1? Mistake. कोई बात नहीं. We never know because UPSC answer की because this is what we are assuming. So I'm not discussing. You will get this thing. No, no. I'm not discussing with you in that case. ठीक है, हम overall discuss कर सकते हैं. This one is right. The state of Hormuz. Yes, this is also right. Andaman and Nicobar. Peninsular block is वाला also right. But this one आपने 1 and 2 पहले mark किया, फिर आपने 1 कर दिया. This was written in my notes. अभी 10 days पहले I have done this only 25 days से. मैंने अभी क्लास के अंदर ही कराया, उसको लिखवाया भी है. And I told everyone to open that notes copy. उन्होंने देखा, उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है कि साख्या सागर is in माधव नेशनल पार्क. करना अब तो क्योंकि साख्या सागर रिसेंटली भी इट वाज देयर, तो वो तो करना जरूरी था. ठीक है, वो डीप वाला चीज. चलो कोई बात नहीं, दिस इज ओके. बट आपने पहले वही मार्क करा है. आई कुड सी दैट. जो पहले मार्क में आता है ना, वही मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम होता है. दिस इज राइट. दे वर burials ग्राउंड ऑफ गुड. ये भी ठीक है. You like the ethics question? It's very lengthy. Hmm. Ethics के question hard नहीं थे, but they were quite. ये भी ठीक है आपका ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन. अच्छा, ancient से how many questions you got? Yeah, I heard that there are many. 20, 25 around ना. ये ancient इसमें भी categorization था ना कि ancient से. अच्छा अच्छा. हम्म. और जो ऋग्वेदा ही मतलब पूरा ancient छोड़ के गया होगा वो. आप छोड़ के गए थे? हम्म. अच्छा. हाँ, नहीं रह पाता. इनफैक्ट पीपल वो लोग छोड़ के जाते हैं एंशियंट पूरा. मैंने कितनी बार देखा है. और आपका पहला हिस्ट्री आया हुआ है. हम्म. 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 ये वाला एम्बिग्यूअस है थोड़ा. ये इसका सिक्किम वाला आई थिंक द क्वेश्चन इज इटसेल्फ इज रॉन्ग. चेक करना, क्वेश्चन ही रॉन्ग है ये. पर ये इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट इट इज आस्किंग, है ना. इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट आस्क कर रहे हैं. नो, सिक्किम इज दिस इज ट्रू. सिक्किम इज ओनली. और कौन सा है बताओ. नहीं, त्रिपुरा का और भी लगता है. देखो एक बार चेक करिए. चेक करो तो। आई मीन अगर आपने मार्क किया क्वेश्चन की, मेरे ख्याल से फ्रेमिंग ही गलत हुआ है इस क्वेश्चन का। आता है ना? बाय द वे सिक्किम इज द ओनली स्टेट विच इज हैविंग एन एक्स्ट्रा बाउंड्री, और कोई है ही नहीं हमारे पास। दैट इज अ ट्रू। एग्जैक्टली, तभी तो मैं बोल रही हूँ। तो फिर आंसर ही नहीं है। उत्तर प्रदेश इज करेक्ट। सेकंड वाला गलत है ना? वेस्ट बंगाल, वेस्ट बंगाल का हाईएस्ट। बांग्लादेश पूरा। पहले इंडियन ज्योग्राफी की क्लास में मैं ये पढ़ाती हूँ कि किसका सबसे ज्यादा बाउंड्री लगता है।